let's just talk about SNL for a second. I just want to thank everybody over there, Laura Michaels and the entire cast and everybody that works there. I had the most fun. I had so much goddamn fun doing that show. I thought I was going to be an absolute wreck. I'm not going to lie to you. I was a nervous wreck on Sunday afternoon because I had run my monologue a couple of times and it wasn't working because I was putting it together. And how it always goes. But I had this big, legendary show that I'm going to go do. And everybody knows the first episode, the first guest host was George Carlin. So I was really trying to downplay the magnitude of the gig. But you can't when it's SNL. So I was kind of in my head. And I was going on stage, and rather than just telling my jokes, I was asking the crowd if here's this idea. What about this one? And I was just eating my balls. And then, of course, I was also doing COVID comedy, so I was standing on sidewalks and on top of roofs, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I went to the taping Saturday night when Chris Rock did it, and it really helped me as far as when I saw it. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this giant show is the whole history of this show is in this little studio. Because it just seems, because when you watch it on TV, it is just the biggest thing ever. When you go there, it's a soundstage. It's just like this little thing. And so in a way that helped me to relax. But then on the other side, like the fucking opening sketch had Jim Carrey and Alec Baldwin, two of the greatest to ever do it. And I'm going like, I can't follow those guys. I can't. And I was like, hold it together, right? And by the way, I had already run my set like 3 times before I went over there for the taping and just ate my balls. So I was trying to play it cool. And I watched the whole show, and I talked to Chris afterwards. He gave me some great advice and everything. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, God, I wish I was him right now because he's done. And it went great. I can't wait for that. And I just started thinking about 1:01 a.m., Sunday morning the following week when the gig would be over, which is the stupidest thing you can do because now you're not going to enjoy it. And that's right where my head went. I started catastrophizing in my head. I had a total fucking panic attack in the hotel room the Sunday, right before I was going to go in on the Monday, the first day. And my wife, being the rock that she is, she talked me down and all of that. And, I've put her through some shit on some big gigs like that, freaking out, which really is normal when you're doing something like that. But it's also sucks for the person you're with that they have to sit there. It's like, somebody threatening to kill themselves that isn't going to kill themselves. It gets exhausting after a while. It's like, you're not going to kill yourself. Can you stop putting me through this, right? So I just was like, all right, I don't want to put my wife through this, and I don't want to be in this mindset the whole week because it's going to fly by. And then afterwards, I know I'm going to do well. I know I'm going to have a good time. And then I'm going to look back going, I wish I enjoyed this. So I just took all of my angst and said, there's no reason to be nervous the whole week until 11:30 Saturday night. And then if you want to be a little nervous, manageably nervous, whatever, and then the show's going to start. And just once I get out on stage, I'll be fine. So every day I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm doing SNL. And I'd be like, it's Monday. We just sit down, we hang out, blah, blah, blah. We kick around some ideas, blah, 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 blah. Nobody's going to see it. None of this is going to be taped. You could literally do a face plant, into a pie, and nobody's going to see it. And then I just kept doing that every morning. And I ended up having the best time and being, obviously, any comedian, a huge fan of the show. One of the greatest parts about the show is not only that you get to do it, is you get to see how they put it together. You get to see how hard everybody works. Because that's the thing. When you host the show, everybody around you is busting their ass, and they're just waltzing you around like the friggin' prom queen. Everybody's writing shit for you. What's your wheelhouse? They're all busting their ass. And then people, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? It's like, yeah, I'm not doing shit. You guys, you guys are all working. And I just, you sit down, you do the table read, you read like a zillion sketches. And I was reading them, and I thought there was going to be like, a lot that weren't going to be good. And I was reading them like, these are all fucking funny. And even the ones that aren't as funny as the other one, you could see how you could punch this up by Saturday and it was going to work. So I started really getting excited. Like, man, these guys, these writers are amazing, right? Then we did the table read. The table read was fun as shit. And I got to see the whole cast and watching them, how they do it. And the whole thing was just, I don't know. It was incredible. And then we started rehearsing them. And you get to go up in the room as they start putting together which ones after the table read, which ones they're going to pick. And then you go into the war room, and we're thinking of doing this here and that there. And what do you think about a pre-tape here? And you get to sit in on all of it. And then there's all this memorabilia and shit. Like I took a picture. There was a flyer in there from the first show that had George Carlin, George Carlin's picture on it. Said something like a new show, Saturday Night Live or something like that. And then Friday we did the pre-tapes, and I had a great time doing that. We rehearsed, and then I went back out, shot some more stuff. That was the only long day. And then Saturday, you just show up. They do like a dress rehearsal, and then they do one in front of the crowd, and then you just do the show. And it just flies by is the only thing I can tell you. And standing backstage when they were doing, after they did the cold open with Jim Carrey and Maya Rudolph, dude, my head's spinning. I forgot the whole Jack White part. That poor guy who was going to do the show was doing what I would be doing if I was a rock star at 27. He was making out with some pretty girl and somebody saw it and took a picture, whatever. Who doesn't do that at 27 or 28? They'll have him on. Just not this show. So then they added Jack White, and then Jack White came in. Like the show wasn't already exciting enough. He comes in, and I got to watch them rehearse. And I got to tell you something, man. As amazing as it is to watch when you guys watched it at home, to be standing right there when they were doing it. Like when I tell you all the hair on my arm was standing up when these guys started playing. And the drummer, is it Daru Jones or Daru Jones? I like the week just flew by. His fucking setup. My buddy said he was playing drums. It looked like he was going to be falling out a window. And, they just came in and just fucking ripped. Just face melting shit. And I was like, holy shit. And I just started thinking, if I crush my monologue and I just do my part in these sketches and then Jack's going to do that twice, this is going to be a fucking killer show. And then when we did the dress rehearsal, there was there was so much shit in there for Eddie Van Halen, by the way. Like I didn't know that they were going to show the clip from when he came on. I think it was in '89 when his then wife Valerie Bertinelli hosted the show. So they had that clip, and we did the dress rehearsal in front of the crowd, and we were about ready to say goodnight. They played that clip, and I didn't know it was coming. And I like the emotion of that was just like, fuck. Like, what are the odds? Like, that I could get to say goodbye to this guy on this stage, man. It was crazy. So, and then the other thing was Jack was telling me that, for the longest time I remember seeing like Jack White is literally a guy who could have gone to Sears Roebuck and bought a fucking guitar and he'll make it sound better than, someone like me on a $10,000 guitar. He just can get that sound. He's just, like, I can't even describe like his whole vibe. It's like he's like a time traveler. It's like he's from now, but you also feel like you're talking to somebody from the 1930s in like the best way. And he goes on stage, and it's like he's like fucking possessed. And I got so much out of watching him, even in the rehearsal, where it reminded me of a story. I remember here, Chris Layton, Stevie Ray Vaughan's drummer, was talking about, where Stevie was talking about some guitar lick, and they were on the tour bus. And when he played it, he still played it like he was in front of 30,000 people. He didn't half-ass it. Like, he had a musical idea, and he just only knew one way to do it. Like, Jack White and his band had that vibe. And I don't know why, but I always grab it. I think just because I've always loved music, I learned so much as a comic watching musicians, if that makes any fucking sense. It was like when I was telling you when I watched that Herbie Hancock thing. He told that story about Miles Davis going, don't play the butter notes or whatever. And I was like, I know what that means comedically. That means go on stage and say what the fuck you want to say. Don't ask the crowd if it's funny. Tell them it's funny. If they don't like it, fuck them. That's what it is. And also, take risks. Get outside your comfort zone. All of that. And I don't know why. Maybe just because I've watched so much stand-up, after a while, you just sort of like get a little numb to it, that I have to see I have to learn stand-up lessons through musicians. It's really weird. So, anyway, I don't even know where the fuck I am. So we go out to go do the show, and I got to tell you, when you're standing back there, like, ready to go on, man, it is just like, I don't even know. There's no way to describe it. It just, you know what I kept doing? I kept standing on that stage whenever I could, because I was looking at it, getting butterflies. I was like, I need to keep standing up here, talking to cameramen and shit while I'm on this stage. I have to get comfortable here, or this isn't going to work. And I kept doing that. And of course, I'm a big fan of Sean Pelton, the drummer there. I got to meet him. He was such a nice guy. He gave me a drumstick, which is fucking awesome. So, and he was a nice guy, and I talked to him, got to know him a little bit. So when I came out to do the monologue, I looked at him, and he was having a good time, big smile, really helped me out. So thanks to him. And then now I have to give a shout out to Lauren and just everybody over there. And then all of these amazing comedic actors that, what do you call it? I think that's the right word, comedic actors. Beck Bennett, Michael Che, Pete Davidson, of course, Mikey Day, Heidi Gardner. She was fucking hilarious. She wrote these 2 killer sketches that didn't quite make the show. I hope they do them in the future because they were great. Colin Jost, Kate McKinnon, who is the king over there. She's just fucking... I was watching her, and I'm literally like, all she needs to get... somebody just has to write her, just give her the Oscar part, and she's going to go get it. She was like I learned so much from her. And Alex Moffat, Kyle Mooney, had a great time with those guys. Beck and Pete and Mikey Day, we got to do the politically correct, Don Pauly, all of that. We had such a good time. Where else? Who else? Ego, Chris Red. They wrote me some great stuff. Keenan Thompson was just amazing, calming force to be around. And he's fucking hilarious. He's just a fucking great dude. Punky Johnson, last time I saw her, we were fucking hanging out at the... and she's amazing. She was like, everybody's favorite down at the Comedy Store, and she also worked at the Comedy Store. So she'd be like behind the bar, getting drinks for the crowd and then going up on stage, crushing it. The typical, comic coming up. And I can't tell you how happy everybody was at the Comedy Store when she got SNL. It was like the same thing like when Melissa Villaseñor got it. Bowen Yang, I got to know him. All of them were so great and so generous in all of the sketches that, like, it basically, once you do the monologue, you can then just sort of hide in their talent, and just deliver your lines. Oh, Jesus. Me trying to fucking read out loud and trying to get the hang of it's the top card because they lift it up and then you can see the bottom card. Don't read that shit until they put it up there because I kept stepping on people's lines. But like I said, I just want to thank everybody over there for getting me through it. And Lauren gave me like the perfect advice for my monologue after dress rehearsal. He said, just make sure you take the time to tell people thank you and that because I was kind of just jumping into my set a little too quickly, because I wanted to get to the first joke, get to the first laugh, rookie moves. But I mean, you revert back to your rookie mistakes when you get into something that's as big as that. But my overall takeaway from that show was it's the most exciting, fun gig I've ever done since I got into show business. I still can't believe that I got to do it. I still can't believe it went that well. And I just can't believe how much fun it was, because I was so fucking nervous when, I was initially supposed to do it in April, and then the COVID thing happened. And I'm not going to lie to you, I think I was more excited that it got canceled than I was bummed, because I was definitely bummed out. But I was also like, oh, thank God that fucking, the countdown to having to fucking have my shit together to pull that off has been shut off. And, I don't know the whole thing, but the whole thing worked out because of everybody over there at the show. So fooled them again, got away with it. And I also got to thank the Comedy Cellar, Stand Up New York, and New York Comedy Club for all the stage time you guys gave me that week, getting ready to do it. And also for Keith Robinson for heckling me while I was doing my monologue, having no respect for the fact that I had this level of a high-pressure gig, and it just put me in a stupid mood. Keith has this sage thing about him. He probably saw that I was a little tight, or he was just being his usual asshole self. I don't give a fuck that you're doing your monologue, stupid. I don't like your jokes. So it was, that was a hell of an experience. I'll never forget it. And then after it was over, you're standing on that stage realizing how it goes by so goddamn fast. I know at one point when I was changing, when I saw a picture of me with the SNL thing and the band was playing, I got that's when it really hit me. I was like, I can't, this is real. I'm on this fucking show. It was nuts. And then in the end, you get to say goodnight. I got to say, rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. They got me a Van Halen t-shirt. And, also, Jack White, I forgot. The subtle nods to Eddie was, I didn't even finish the story about Jack, how he used to just play these little store-bought, he used to make guitars and stuff for himself. I don't even know. But he had the Eddie Van Halen Wolfgang model, which was the name of Eddie's son. And that's Eddie's company. He named the guitar after his son because he's the greatest dad ever, right? Not only the greatest guitarist, if you do that for your kid, you're all in, right? So, and Jack was showing me the whole setup of it and everything. And, no one's going to go on stage and play a Van Halen song because you're not going to do it like Eddie. But there was one point where the song, where they brought it down, and just for the perfect amount, 6 to 8 seconds, 10 seconds or whatever, Jack did a little tap on solo, just this totally coolest little tip of the cap to Eddie, and then went right back in and now this is how I do it. And then they showed that video, and then I got to wear the Van Halen t-shirt, say Eddie, rest in peace. I just thought, when a guy like that of that magnitude passes, that a show that legendary, to give him his due, it was so humbling to be a part of that. So, yeah. Crazy, 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 crazy.